Bigfoot, the world's ultimate shadow. A massive fur-clad titan walking upright through the dense North American wilderness. His silhouette haunts everyone, from toddlers to tenured zoologists. Hundreds of films, thousands of books, millions of shirts sold. $100 million circus of merchandise and myth. Yet beneath the hype lies a singular, piercing question. Science demands an honest verdict. Is he real or even biologically possible? Beyond the wonder, we must ask, what does the hard data reveal? What evidence survived the lab? Let's strip away the legend and look at the facts. No hype, no conspiracies, pure evidence. We begin with the Holy Grail, the Patterson-Gimlin film. October 20th, 1967, Bluff Creek, California. Two men, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, captured 60 seconds of history on 16mm film. A dark, massive biped strides across a dry creek. It glances at the lens, then vanishes into the timber. Less than a minute of footage. Yet it is the most scrutinized 60 seconds in history. What is the scientific verdict? Over 50 years of analysis. Biomechanists versus Hollywood monster makers. The experts are deadlocked. That silence speaks volumes. Dr. Jeff Meldrum, an Idaho State anatomy professor, points to something chilling. The creature's gait isn't human. It walks with constant knee flexion. A compliant gait, natural for great apes, but grueling for men. Massive thigh and gluteal muscles ripple under the fur. Proportions that defy standard human anatomy. It simply doesn't fit the frame of a man in a rug. However, the shadows run deep. No evidence here is bulletproof. Costume designer Philip Morris claimed he sold Patterson a gorilla suit weeks before the trip. His story lacks paperwork, yet remains unproven. A ghost claim in a ghost story. In 2004, Bob Hieronymus claimed he was the man inside. No proof. Patterson died in 1972, taking his secrets to the grave. He never confessed to a hoax, but never proved the truth. Bob Gimlin remains, still swearing it was flesh and blood. Fast forward to 2022. Researcher Daniel Perez applied modern digital stabilization, tech the 1960s could not dream of. The result? Shocking. The enhanced footage reveals rhythmic muscle contractions beneath the fur of the leg and back. To fake this, a suit would need complex internal mechanics to mimic living tissue. In 1967, such tech belonged only to elite studios, not two men with a shoestring budget and a handheld camera. Skeptics fire back. They say these muscles are just film grain, shadows, or digital noise. The war of words will never end, not without a suit or a body. 57 years later, the verdict on the film remains inconclusive. No consensus, no peace. It isn't proof, but it isn't a proven fake either. It's a void. And in science, a void isn't a yes. Proof demands a body, not a shadow. Now, let's look at the footprints, the most common evidence ever recorded. Decades of plaster casts, thousands of prints scattered across the continent. Giant feet, 18 inches long, 8 inches wide, flat-footed and powerful. Dr. Meldrum studied these patterns. He scrutinized over 300 casts through the lens of anatomy. His discovery was startling. Some prints show a mid-tarsal break, a flexible ridge in the sole that humans simply do not have. This trait allows for movement across rugged terrain. It is nearly impossible to fake with a wooden stamp. But the footprints share the film's curse. No scientific control. Most were found by amateurs, not experts. No rigorous tracking protocols, no pristine data. Just stories and plaster. Worse, we know for a fact that many are frauds. Take Ray Wallace. When he died in 2002, a secret came out. His family revealed the wooden feet he used to stomp fake tracks into the mud since 1958. Wallace's prank sparked the entire Bigfoot fever of the late 50s. The ultimate irony? The name Bigfoot was coined to describe Wallace's wooden hoaxes. Are they all fakes? Maybe not. Scientists still argue that some tracks possess a complexity no prankster could replicate. The soil compression is too perfect, the anatomy too precise. Yet, a mystery isn't a species. Prints are just ghosts. Without a body or a bone, they remain whispers. We need DNA, the absolute truth, code that does not lie. One hair or a drop of saliva from an unknown primate would end the debate forever. For years, hunters have scoured the brush for samples. The results? Pure disappointment. In 2014, Oxford geneticist Brian Sykes launched the ultimate DNA hunt. 36 strands of hair. That was the entire payload geneticist Brian Sykes used to hunt a legend across the globe. Every sample came from true believers, people convinced they held a piece of the impossible. Sykes didn't guess. He mapped their genetic blueprints. His findings hit the prestigious Proceedings of the Royal Society B. The verdict? Out of 36 monsters, not one belonged to an unknown primate. The laboratory stripped away the myth. They were bears, black, brown, and Himalayan. They were cows, horses, raccoons, and even humans. Even the legendary Yeti samples from the high Himalayas were unmasked. They belonged to a rare ancient subspecies of the brown bear. 0 unknown primates. Absolute 0. Sykes wasn't a cynic. He entered the woods with an open mind, genuinely hoping to find a miracle. He wanted to be wrong. But the data was cold and final. There was no genetic evidence for a giant ape in North America or anywhere else. Then came a bolder, more chaotic claim. In 2012, veterinarian Melba Ketchum announced she'd finally cracked the code. She claimed to have sequenced a full Bigfoot genome from samples provided by hunters. Her conclusion was staggering. A hybrid, half human, half beast. It sent shockwaves through the community, but the world of professional genetics wasn't buying the story. Science journals slammed their doors. Ketchum's work couldn't survive the brutal light of peer review due to massive technical failures. She eventually bought her own journal just to publish. But independent experts looked at her data and found a messy, embarrassing truth. The Sasquatch genome was a contaminated wreck, a literal mix of human DNA and common opossum. A cautionary tale of blind faith. It's a classic trap. When you want to find the monsters so badly, you hallucinate the data. Now, consider the footprint on the world itself. This is the strongest blow to the Bigfoot legend. A massive predator cannot exist in an ecosystem without leaving a permanent scar. It eats, it alters the brush, and it leaves waste. It leaves behind bones when it dies. Most importantly, it must breed. To survive, a species needs a population in the hundreds, if not thousands. If Sasquatch is real, it's not just one, it's a colony. We're talking about a beast weighing 300 to 600 pounds. To avoid genetic collapse, you'd need at least 500 individuals. 500 massive primates lurking in North American timber. That is the biological floor before inbreeding wipes them out. Think of the impact. Every day, 500 giants would be consuming massive amounts of food, snapping branches and leaving trails. They would get sick, lose teeth, and drop dead. Yet in all of history, we have 0 bodies. No bones, no teeth, not one. We live in an era where millions of high-tech trail cameras guard our forests. They watch everything. Everything except him. These lenses catch the ghosts of the forest. Lynxes, cougars, and wolverines. Rare, shy creatures, but never a Sasquatch. Not once. Then there are the heat signatures. Documentaries spent thousands of hours scouring the dark with military-grade thermal cameras. These sensors can spot a warm body at several hundred yards through thick brush. 10 seasons of searching, thousands of hours. They found deer. They found bears and coyotes and rabbits. Anything with a heartbeat showed up bright on the screen. But they never found the giant. No unidentified heat blooms. No massive silhouettes moving through the pines. If it has a body temperature, we should see it. Now, look at the newest weapon in science, environmental DNA, or eDNA. Life is messy. Every creature sheds its essence into the water, the soil, and the very air we breathe. Saliva, skin cells, and waste. It all carries a genetic signature that lingers long after the animal has vanished. This tech is terrifyingly precise. It can detect a single fish in a massive lake from just 1 liter of water taken from the shore. If a colony of apes lived in these woods, their genetic ghost would be everywhere. In the rivers, the mud, and the filters. Researchers targeted the hot zones, the Pacific Northwest, and the Appalachians, searching specifically for a mystery primate signature. The result was a familiar echo. Bears, deer, humans. The woods are full of life, but none of it is Sasquatch. Contrast this with the Saola. Discovered in 2002 in the Vietnamese jungle, this Asian unicorn was a true ghost. Yet, despite its extreme rarity, we have its horns, its hide, its DNA, and clear shots from camera traps. The Saola is one of the most elusive creatures on Earth, hidden in a green hell. Yet science managed to document it. But Bigfoot? Supposedly walking through woods swarming with millions of hikers and hunters, yet he leaves nothing for the lab. Believers point to the fossil record. They speak of Gigantopithecus, the real-life king of the apes that ruled Asia long ago. He was a titan, standing nearly 10 feet tall and weighing over 1,000 pounds. A true monster of the Pleistocene. He likely walked on all fours like an orangutan, but his sheer scale makes him the perfect candidate for a Sasquatch ancestor. The theory suggests he crossed the Bering Land Bridge into America. But there is a massive hole in that story. Every single bone we found is in Asia. Not one tooth has surfaced in North America. The bridge was a frozen nightmare. Beringia was a subarctic wasteland of tundra and ice. For a tropical ape adapted to bamboo forests, it was a death sentence. Gigantopithecus vanished 100,000 years ago, leaving behind a void that our imagination is all too eager to fill. Far back before the peak of the Ice Age, when the land bridge stood open, the timeline breaks, the maps clash, the fossils fail to connect the dots. Then there is the mental lens. We cannot finish this puzzle without looking inward. Why does the human eye keep finding what isn't there? Across the vast timber of North America, tens of thousands swear they saw it. A towering biped in the brush. They aren't all delusional. Most are rational neighbors who truly believe their own eyes. How do we explain it? Neuropsychology points to pareidolia. It is the brain's hardwired reflex to find meaning in chaos. Faces in the clouds, figures in the thicket, especially when the light fades. Add fear and anticipation to the mix. Suddenly, a gnarled trunk becomes a monster. Then, there is the simple mistake of identity. A black bear on its heels. They do it constantly. At sunset, from a distance, the silhouette is hauntingly human-like. 7 feet tall, shaggy, dark, and heavy. It moves with a clumsy yet certain gait on 2 legs. When adrenaline spikes, a common bear is transformed into a legend. Then consider the impact of infrasound. Wind howling through stone can vibrate at frequencies below human hearing. deep, silent tremors that shake the soul. These waves trigger primal dread, panic, the chilling sensation of being hunted. This explains the sixth sense reported in encounters, that hair-raising terror. What about the acoustic evidence? Hunters and hikers record the forest's voice. Distant screams, tree knocking, eerie metallic whistles. Take the 1971 Sierra sounds from California. Experts in Wyoming ran the tapes through the gauntlet. The pitch and rhythm matched nothing in the North American catalog. Striking, yes, but unidentified is not a synonym for new species. Sound is a trickster in the pines. Echoes and interference can warp a coyote's howl into a demon's cry. It is not proof. Look at the ledger. Cryptozoology is a multi-hundred-million-dollar machine every single year. T-shirts, documentaries, and expeditions. Willow Creek, California is a town built entirely on a ghost story. The birthplace of the Patterson-Gimlin footage survives on tourism, statues, museums, festivals. Small towns across the Pacific Northwest rely on this myth for survival. There is a massive financial motive to keep the beast alive. Not everyone is lying for a check, but an environment that rewards fame over fact is a dangerous place for the truth. This isn't a modern fad. The shadow in the woods has been there for millennia. Long before cameras, indigenous peoples told tales of the hairy men of the mountains. The Salish called him Sasquatch. The Lummi spoke of the Tsul'ku. Every tribe had a guardian, or a monster. These stories were woven into the cultural DNA of the land. This lens colors every shadow. Every snap of a twig is interpreted through these ancient ghost stories. They reflect a real, raw connection to the wild. But they also dictate what we expect to see. So, where do we stand? What is the scientific verdict today? The 1967 film remains a stalemate. No consensus. No smoking gun. The tracks? Thousands found. Most are documented hoaxes. The rest are just ambiguous depressions in the dirt. The genetics. Every sample, hair, blood, skin, has returned a match for known wildlife. Bears, dogs, humans. The ecological wall. A breeding population needs hundreds, yet there is not one bone, not one tooth, not one clear trail cam shot. The ancestor? Gigantopithecus fails the test. The timing and geography do not align. Instead, we have psychology, upright bears, infrasound, cultural bias. These explain the how. The scientific conclusion is cold and hard. Not a single piece of evidence survives the rigorous fires of standard scientific peer review. That doesn't mean it's impossible. Science never says never. We are still finding giants in the 21st century. The Saola in Vietnam, the Olinguito in Ecuador. But those discoveries came with physical bodies and skeletons. This legend is built on smoke. Blurry frames, plaster casts, and campfire stories. None of it holds up under the microscope. Do we stop looking? No. A hypothesis is a living thing until it is finally buried. If a specimen is found tomorrow, science will pivot instantly. It will rewrite the textbooks without hesitation. The scientific method has no ego. It simply follows the trail of breadcrumbs wherever they lead. But the trail has gone cold. Is he real? The honest answer, almost certainly not. That isn't skepticism, it's data. Science isn't here to validate our fantasies. Its job is to map reality with the tools we have, and reality points to a myth. A beautiful, profitable, immortal myth. Perhaps that is the point. He isn't a biological species. He is a mirror. He represents our desperate hope that the world is still wild, that something untamed still watches us from the dark. Forget the maps. Satellites scan every inch, yet the darkness remains unmeasured and wild. DNA strips every mystery bare, Yet, Bigfoot endures. He is the final bastion of the unknown. Myths are comfort, but science does not exist to comfort us. It exists to strip the mask. The answer? Bipedal bears. Infrasound-induced terror. A brain hallucinating predators in the shifting pines. Reality is breathtaking. Its wonders are real. But the forest, it still feels watched.